Okay, today we're looking at the HTC 8X Windows 8 device. Now, we're not going to do a review or anything like that. There's a ton of them on YouTube already, but what we are going to do is show you how easy it is with the Windows 8 operating system to add the Straight Talk SIM card APN settings on this phone. Now this is an AT&T locked device. It's not an unlocked device. There's nothing special about it that allows me to do this. This is how the operating system comes. I haven't done anything to it. It's straight out of the box. Now with Windows 7, the previous version, if you've never messed with that, or if you're looking at this video thinking, well, whether you should get Windows 7 or 8. Well, with Windows 7, some of the lower end phones you can't do that on. You can add the data, which gives you internet. So with all the Windows 7 phones, you can use internet. Now the MMS is where you had the problem with Windows 7, because Windows 7 does not give you a way to enter the necessary APNs or the necessary settings for you to use MMS, only internet. So with Windows 7, you had to rely on an app provided by the phone manufacturer for you to be able to enter those settings. Now the HTC app, for example, on the Windows 7 phones, they don't have Straight Talk as a supported carrier at last time I checked. So with a Windows 7 phone, you can't use an HTC phone. I should say you can, but you won't be able to program your MMS, so you can't send picture messages. You can only do internet and make and receive calls, regular texting. With the Nokias, they had an app, so you could use the Nokias, but the app was unavailable for the longest time. So for a long time, you couldn't use Nokias, none of them. So the only ones that were left were like 3 Samsung models, and those you had to download the Samsung app and then do the Straight Talk APNs that way. But with Windows 8, you don't need an app. You don't need anything special. The phone comes with the screen that we need. So we'll go ahead and show you that. Again, this is an AT&T locked phone. I haven't done anything special to it. I haven't jailbreaked it or anything like that. This is just how the phone comes. So we're going to go into our settings, which, by the way, if you've used Windows 7, then this Windows 8 is very similar. I mean, really, it's identical in the layout and the look feel as Windows 7. The tiles are a little bit differently organized, but that's about it. So we'll go into the settings with this gear icon here, and in particular, we're looking for cellular. Now I don't have a SIM card in this phone at the moment because I use my wife's SIM card to test this phone. But I can assure you that everything works. I tested it for a couple of days with her Straight Talk SIM card, and everything worked fine. So as you can see, we're in a cellular menu, and we have Edit Internet APN, which Windows 7 had, and we still have. But now we have this Edit MMS APN, which Windows 7 does not have, and Windows 8 does. Now, Internet APN, that's fairly easy to set up. All you need is att.mvno in the APN box. All the other boxes can be left empty. That bottom box of IP type, you can leave that to default. And then when you're done, you just hit the disk to save it. Now the new stuff on Windows 8 is this Edit MMS, so we'll go into that, and all we need here is the, again, same APN, att.mvno here, We need on Windows 8 it's labeled WAP Gateway URL. If you use some of the apps on Windows 7, like for example the Samsung app and the Nokia app, I think it's labeled as proxy on those. But on Windows 8, it's called a WAP Gateway, and you need that IP address 66.209.11.33. The WAP Gateway port, which is on the other phones, are labeled, I believe, proxy port. You need 80 in there. And then finally, the MMSC, we need http://mmsc.singular.com, and then an MMSC port of 80. If you get one of these phones, you'll notice that the phone actually auto populates the ports, so you don't really need to enter them. When you save it, even if you leave the ports blank, the phone will set them to 80. And then finally, again on this screen, there's the IP type, IPv4, v6. Leave that as is. If you know a little bit about the IP protocols, you might think you know a little better, and you might think that you need to set it to IPv4 or maybe just IPv6. Don't do that, because it won't work. I tried it on this phone. If I set it to IPv4, and it would send to some but not others. Finally, when I set it to IPv4 v6, it worked across the board. And that's the default, so leave that. And then once you're done, again, tap the disk and save it. So that's it. At this point, this phone will work with Straight Talk across the board. Make, receive calls, text, data, picture messaging, pretty much anything that you would have with AT&T, you'll have with Straight Talk. Of course, if you're familiar with Straight Talk, then you know that the data is a little bit more restricted, So it's not going to be any different with this phone. That's just the thing with the carrier. And then finally, all the Windows 8 devices, I believe they're all LTE. This one is 4G LTE. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't have the SIM card, so I can't show you. But on this phone, you'll see that if you get it, it will pick up the 4G. Now it's not. I don't think it's LTE. I haven't done a speed test. So it's just I forget the acronym, but it's just the regular 4G. It's not LTE. So that's one last note. But everything else, again, will work on the phone, including the app marketplace, Internet Explorer, etc., etc.